I may be a few days late for the spooky season, but hopefully you are still interested in hearing about the New Wave Toys Ghosts and Goblins Replicade, which is a beautiful 1/6 scale replication of the classic arcade. Hello, retro gaming and home arcade fans, it's me, it's Michael B. Thank you so very much for watching, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Ghosts and Goblins Replicade from New Wave Toys. So that's right guys, in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the Ghosts and Goblins Replicade, the latest release in the Replicade 1/6 scale arcade line from New Wave Toys. I want to say a huge thank you to New Wave Toys for sending me out the Ghosts and Goblins Replicade for the purpose of this review. Is this cabinet everything that we hoped for? How will the new CRT filter look? And is this a cabinet you will enjoy playing? But before we get into that, I want to say thank you so much, everybody, for checking out the video. Guys, I always appreciate the support. If this is your first time to the channel, you like what you see, go ahead, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, all that YouTube jazz. Well, here it is, guys, the Ghosts and Goblins Replicade from New Wave Toys. Of course, like every New Wave Toys Replicade product, it comes in not one box, not two boxes, but 3 boxes. My favorite thing, I mention all the time, is the secondary box is actually a replication of what an original shipping box would be like if you got a cabinet, an arcade cabinet, new from the distributor way back in the day. I love the art on the actual box, showcasing great art from the Ghosts and Goblins series, and even when you open up the side panel, you'll see some Japanese art from Ghosts and Goblins as well. So I know you guys aren't here to talk about what the box looks like, you guys want to know what's included inside. So first off, of course, inside the box we have the Ghosts and Goblins Replicade cabinet. I mean, you kind of expect that to be there, right? Moving on, we also have additional button tops or ball stick tops that go on the cabinet. Here we have a faux power cable, which we'll talk about a little more in a little bit here. We have the real USB-C charging cable. We also have a an instruction manual that is basically a replication of what an original operator's manual would look like back in the day. And of course, we have our tokens. Oh, so many tokens. So one of the big new inclusions for New Wave Toys this time around is an actual power cord. So it looks just like the original arcade. Now this is purely an aesthetic add-on. You've got your faux power cord and there's actually a slot to plug it in the back. It's basically just a piece that hangs out. So guys, let's take a look at the cabinet, and I want to give New Wave Toys kudos once again because this is a near perfect replica of the classic arcade cabinet. It's one of those cabs, when you see it in an arcade, it's such an amazing piece of art, and they've done such a good job here replicating that in the 1/6 scale. Of course, the funny question that everybody's asking about this cabinet is the paint on the cabinet, the color of the cabinet. Is it blue or is it purple? Honestly, I don't even know. It looks purple to me, but maybe it's blue. I know Cool Toy said it was royal blue. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think it is? Is it blue or is it purple? Now, even though this cabinet is absolutely beautiful, one area in which it's lacking is the side artwork. Much like many other Capcom arcade releases, it's basically just a conversion kit and there's just a sticker that goes on the side. But the sticker here is absolutely beautiful, features some ghoulish and ghost and goblin-y artwork to go on the side. Picture quality on the sticker is really high and it's made of a high material. I'm a very big fan. So if you take a look on the back of the cabinet, that's where you can find your speaker with the faux little lock mechanism there. Move down, you will see the actual components of the cabinet. There we have a USB-C charging station. That's where you actually charge the cable, not through the faux power cord. There is actually an HDMI out, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and 2 USB slots. I want you to pay close attention to here because of the cabinets offering these USB slots, this one might be the most important. If you take a look at the top of the cabinet, you're going to find your volume control and power button placed very easily so you can access them while gaming. If you go around to the front and on the kick plate, you'll actually find that they include a die-cast metal coin door. Now this die-cast metal coin door does in fact have light up button slots, and this one actually features a brand new function as the first player coin slot actually accepts those tokens. So you remember those tokens that came with the cabinet, we got a lot of them with this cab, and that's because this actually accepts tokens and it has a token reader inside. So when you put your token in the cabinet, it will actually show as a credit on the game, which is pretty cool. Although these are really hard to put in, so thankfully you can still press the player 2 button in order to actually coin into the game. Otherwise, man, this would be a nightmare, and you're gonna die a lot in Ghosts and Goblins and Ghouls and Ghosts. Now usually these only feature the solitary die-cast metal coin door, but with this one you will also notice a panel underneath. This actually opens up, revealing a coin box underneath that actually catches the New Wave Toys coin tokens that you're going to be putting in. The attention to detail with New Wave Toys keeps getting more and more impressive. Good job here, guys. So let's move on to the Marquee, and like with everything else on this cabinet, of course it lights up. It's bright and vibrant and has great coloring. The artwork is clear and beautiful, matching the original, and thankfully there is even light distribution and no visible hotspots. Honestly, once again, they've nailed the Marquee. This is something New Wave Toys has absolutely zero problems with. So now let's move down to the screen, and this is where this really gets interesting because the last couple of releases from New Wave Toys have featured a little bit of an innovation from them, which is the CRT filter. They actually put a convex or concave lens over the screen to try to replicate what it would have looked like with the original CRT monitor. Now in previous releases like Missile Command and Food Fight, these haven't been overly positive reactions to these with the fan base. I myself did notice them in my initial review for the Missile Command cab. I wasn't the biggest fan, but I have to say the CRT 2.0 is a massive improvement over the original. I think they've perfected this technology. I would have no issue with them including this on future releases. The screen, of course, looks great. It's bright and tight with great coloring. There's no washout or discolorization from angles, and the game looks great on the screen. I mean, that's the most important thing, right? On top of that, the bezel artwork around the sides is absolutely beautiful, matching the rest of the amazing art on the cabinet, and it even has the little micro instruction section. I can't read it, I don't have my glasses on, but someone else can tell me, can you actually read the text on it? Is it legible enough, or is it just too small? Alright guys, so let's talk about the control panel. Now in this section there's going to be a lot of good and a little bit of bad, which I want to talk about. The control panel is simple with limited artwork, but it has a very cool waterfall design that looks great and continues the artwork from the control panel down to the front piece. One of the really unique features about this cabinet is it's actually set up for people both left and right-handed, as it will have fire and jump buttons on both sides of the control stick. The buttons themselves, even though they're micro, have a very good feel to them and are actually super responsive. Then we get to the control stick, and unfortunately that's another story. Before I did my review, I saw some rumors online on Discord, and my buddy Restalgia wrote me and indicated that another YouTuber by the name of the Rexer Show did a review and identified that this game actually has an 8-way gate in there for the control stick. Now, why that's a problem is if you go back to like some of the main boards over the years, these games are actually supposed to have a 4-way gate, and there's actually severe problems while playing the game if you actually reach out and put the control stick in one of the diagonal issues, it'll completely stall your movement, freeze you, so while you're trying to move forward in-game, if you're not pressing exactly forward, which the 4-way gate would entail, you're actually going to stall on screen. And honestly, Ghosts and Goblins and Ghouls and Ghosts are two games which are super hard, require almost exact precision, so the fact that these gate issues, or this gate issue is prevalent, is really frustrating and makes it super hard to play the cabinet with the controls that are provided. Now, there is some good news with this. I did speak with my buddy Glenn, who has a relationship with New Wave Toys. New Wave Toys are aware of the control issues with the cab, with the 8-way gate, and are currently looking at options to provide some kind of update or fix for this, so hopefully the cab will be more playable. Now, I know you're saying, why didn't other reviewers bring this up? Maybe they didn't know before Rexer had mentioned it in his review. But the fact is, New Wave Toys, usually the controls are pretty small, so most people get them, they might play with them a little bit, but they have those USB ports on the back. And the cool thing about New Wave Toys cabs is, you can just take any controller you have, like I personally really like 8-bit dough, plug it into the arcade itself and use a controller instead of the very tiny arcade controls, so I'm sure most people would have missed this. Now moving on to the games, and the cabinet will load directly into Ghosts and Goblins, so you're going to look at it and say, hey, wait a minute, I thought there were 2 games on this thing. Well, you can actually hold down on the player 1 and player 2 buttons on the control panel, and it will take you to an options menu that will allow you to choose your game between Ghosts and Goblins and Ghouls and Ghosts. Of course, there's other features in the options menu. You can choose your difficulty. You're going to want to put it all the way to easy. Trust me, this game is super hard. But there's other features there too, like you can put scan lines on, you can turn off your marquee if you want to, a whole bevy of options. So we've addressed most of the ports that were on the back of the cabinet. Last one I want to talk about is HDMI out. Let's be honest, these games are super hard, there's so much happening on the screen, maybe the tiny screen wouldn't be the best way to actually play this game, and if you feel that way, thankfully there is an HDMI out and you can plug this into a TV and play on a much larger screen. The picture, of course, looks very good, all the colors look great, and most importantly, it's in the correct aspect ratio. Other arcades that have featured HDMI out in the past, not New Wave Toys, but other companies, have provided a picture that's completely stretched out. This is in the correct original aspect ratio, so good job, New Wave Toys. The other thing that's great about having an HDMI out, of course, is you can actually record gameplay like I'm doing here. That's great for capturing Ghosts and Goblins or Ghouls and Ghosts, but the other amazing thing about it is, if you so choose to, you can actually stream these games live on the air. So if you're a Twitch streamer, YouTube streamer, you can plug an HDMI into your cabinet and actually play directly on stream. And what's crazy about this is these cabinets are $160, and cabinets from other home arcade companies that are much more expensive can't seem to cost effectively add an HDMI out, but yet New Wave Toys at $160 can. So anyways guys, that's my look at the Ghosts and Goblins Replicade from New Wave Toys, and another beautiful release from this company and a great aesthetic piece to put in my New Wave Toys Replicade collection. I mean, you gotta give them massive credit here with their attention to detail. I mean, look at the new features that were added. It's only aesthetic, but we now have a power cord. It doesn't do anything, not that I'm aware of, but it just looks cool, and it's those added things that make these products so special. Then of course we've also got the actual coin taker and how it registers in the front. I mean, it's super hard to put these coins into the coin slots. No one's actually going to use it, but it's cool that they just went that extra mile to make sure it was an option so you could if you wanted. Then of course, adding the coin box just The attention to detail, I could talk about it till I'm blue in the face. Amazing stuff, New Wave Toys. I also want to give a lot of credit on the improvements to the CRT filter, the CRT 2.0. Big step in the right direction for what you're doing. I was very disappointed in the original CRT filter. I know not everybody was, but I personally didn't think it was that great. This is so much better. I think you've nailed it, and I would be completely comfortable going forward with your cabinets if you continue to put this CRT filter on it. Of course, there was a little bit of a negative with this, where the controls and the control stick actually featured an 8-way gate. Specifically with these games, makes it extremely hard to play. You have to be incredibly careful. You're going to get a lot of missed inputs and a lot of stalling of your character because of it. But thankfully, according to Glenn, they're working on a fix, and I have no doubt New Wave Toys will figure something out, so the play experience is going to be much better. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments, what do you think of the Ghosts and Goblins Replicade from New Wave Toys? Do you think this is another hit for New Wave Toys with their improvements? Let me know in the comments down below. Once again, I want to say thank you so very much for watching. This is Michael B. the Game Genie. I'll talk to you next time.